What's up, guys? We're here today at Esk8con 2025 with Lorentz once again. This will be my second video with you guys at this event. How's it going, Chris?
Pretty good, Ryan. How you doing, man?
I'm doing awesome. I just came over here and found out that they have some brand new boards that they're releasing this year, and this is probably one of the coolest shortboards you're going to see this year, if I had to guess. Got a fully featured shortboard monster here with gear drives available, lighting, and a hot swappable battery. So, Chris, why don't you take us through some of the key features, and then we'll take a closer look.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the all-new Lorentz Maverick. It's a completely new board for us that we're going to be releasing this summer. And what we wanted to do with this is have portability meet performance. This is not your average shortboard. And so some of the things that you're going to see here that you may not see on most of them is, for instance, this board has gear drives and 6368 motors. That's because this board can go 38 miles an hour.
Wow.
Much faster than your average shortboard. It does that using a Molicel P45B battery. We're able to crank out a lot of amps from a 14S2P battery. We've tried to pack a lot of features in here, so not only are you getting this major performance, but you also have an LED light strip that goes all the way around it. You can adjust it to any color in the remote, as well as a series of patterns. We've also got the same headlights that are on the Major itself, which are 2,000 lumens each. And then the Pro version is going to ship with these 105 boosted style wheels on it.
That's sick,
Now,
dude.
The real hot selling feature on this is going to be its hot swappable battery. Without any tools, you can change the battery on this board in under 30 seconds. So now you've got double the range if you're carrying an extra battery in your backpack.
That's really impressive. And honestly, we haven't seen a in-deck battery like this in a long time. I want to say inboard used to have a swappable battery like this back in the days of 10S. I believe it was a 10S 2P of Samsung 30Qs. Classic old Esk8 things. But this one is much more powerful. The P45B cells that are in here in the, correct me if I'm wrong, the Pro model.
That's right.
In the Pro model, these are the same cells that Meepo is using in their race board. So that should tell you the kind of performance that you get out of those cells. 4,500 milliamp hours per cell with a enormous maximum discharge rate and an enormous charge rate. Are you guys going to be pairing a fast charger with this as well? Or?
We sure are. The Pro model is going to come with a 12 amp charger. And that's going to charge this battery from 0 to 100 in 30 minutes.
That's crazy. Is it big? Do you have one here with you?
I do have one here with me.
And out of curiosity, what charge connector is it? Is it the same one that the Major has, or a smaller one?
No, this is a different connector. Here we go.
Sorry, I jumped it on you.
All right, live TV here. Go.
Yeah, there you go.
So this is our 12 amp charger. This one is a pre-production model, so it's not really got markings. It is using this type of connector.
My camera is struggling, but I'll look at it in B-roll.
Yeah.
That is a connector that I've seen from both Acetec and Meepo. It's a nice 3-pin connector with a an orienting feature that makes it pretty hard to plug in improperly. So pretty good choice on connector there. I'm surprised it can take 12 amps. I didn't know it was that powerful, but pretty sweet to see a 12 amp charger on a shortboard, especially at that size.
Yeah, what's neat is you can also charge it through the board, the charging port in the base plate, but the battery itself also has a charge port.
Oh, really?
So
That's
you're riding around, it dies. You take this battery out, you could put it on the charger while you're rocking your auxiliary battery in the board.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So let's show off the key feature here, the hot swap.
Sure thing.
There is a standing record here on the table from a fellow YouTuber, Thomas Kilminster from, oh man, I'm forgetting what his channel name is.
Esk8 Nomad.
Yeah, he did it in 10 seconds. So Chris, why don't you show us how it's done?
Well, I'm not going to do it in 10 seconds because you might miss it.
Yeah.
It begins under here with this knob right here. This knob is used to pop the deck on the top of the board.
Sweet. All right, let's see it.
And so I'm going to reach under here, I'm going to turn it, and you'll see this front cover pop.
Yep.
From there, I just grab it from the front, move it forward, and lift.
That's so cool, isn't it?
And the lid pulls out the battery for you.
That's awesome.
You have it right here. It pulls out. You could just grab one from your backpack, stick it in, drop it down, give it a nice press. Then you get your lid, you move it, back goes in first, nice press. That's it. You can change your battery in under 30 seconds.
That's awesome.
No tools involved.
Toolless battery change is definitely awesome. Another company that comes to mind that had swappable batteries was Kit. Unfortunately, they aren't really around anymore, but having swappable batteries was an awesome feature on that, and I think that's an awesome feature to carry in a shortboard, especially because you guys will be offering not a P45B pack, but which cell? The 50S for the airline pack?
That's not the airline pack. That's kind of a range pack that's going to be over 500 watt hours. I have to confirm the cell on the airline pack, but that is going to be a 99 watt hour battery pack that you can fly with.
Okay, so will that be, do you think I don't know if you have the information, but will it be a 2P or a 1P?
It definitely 1P. I believe it's actually
Okay.
12S 1P.
Okay, so it might adjust the feel of the board a little bit.
Yeah. That's not going to be a performance pack by any means. That's, you know, for you to be able to explore places when you go and travel and see different places. But with it being 99 watt hours, you can take several of them with you if you wish.
Right. So the other cool features on here include the gear drives, which I believe you said are also on the Pro version.
Also what?
On the Pro version?
Yeah, that is correct. The Pro version comes standard with gear drives. These are all steel gear drives with a 3.0 ratio.
All right, are they single stage, like one pinion and one wheel gear?
No, 3 gears.
Okay, so they're 3-gear drive. We've seen that from other companies like Esk8con to sort of minimize the case diameter. It allows you to have a smaller wheel and still have enough distance between the motor and the hanger. It's a really complicated problem to solve, so it's cool to see Lorentz taking a stab at it, and especially doing it on a shortboard. I personally really prefer gear drives. I like the reliability, and especially with steel gears, they tend to last a long time, and they're just a lot easier to maintain than belts. Of course, if you do have a brake, it can be tough, but that's why you have steel gears, so you don't have any brakes. So really cool to see that on there. And then we're also using on here the same lights that you could get for the Lorentz Major, which are coming in at 2,000 lumens. Absolutely blasters for a shortboard like this.
And those are controllable by the remote, and you can adjust the brightness with the remote as well.
That's really cool. And handing over to that, the remote has a ton of cool new stuff as well. You guys may be familiar with this from the shape and feel of Backfire. Lorentz is actually collaborating with Backfire on their new remote. That's correct?
Yep, that's right. So Backfire is going to be using the Lorentz remote on some of their new boards launching in April.
Sweet. That is awesome. We're going to do a cut right now so I can adjust my settings and get some close-ups.
Can I show you one more thing with this battery?
Yeah, sure.
So every Maverick is going to be shipping with this thing as well.
Okay.
This is called the Maverick Battery Hub. And what it does is it's got a connector that fits into the Maverick's battery. And so if I plug it in like here, not only can you charge phones and other devices off of it, this is a 100 watt PD hub. You can run a laptop off of this this battery.
That's really cool.
You have a real true like commuter powerhouse if you want that.
And the standard or the P45B pack is 450 watt hours. So that's a pretty decent bit, especially when you compare it to laptops, where a lot of them do meet that airline standard at only 99 watt hours. So you could definitely use this instead of a portable battery bank if you're traveling. Really great thing to have on there. Cool, innovative features. I don't know if I've ever seen that from anyone else. Really cool. All right, we'll be right back. All right, we're back with the remote in the shade so we can see what's going on here. So this new remote has a lot of features to control the lighting on these new boards, and we're going to talk about this guy in a minute, which is the Major V3. But the remote here has a lot of new features, including a touch screen, which is pretty cool. You want to take us through some of that?
Yeah, sure thing. So as Ryan said, this is a touchscreen remote. If I'm going to the menu here, I can start scrolling through parts of this with it being touchscreen. It's a very similar shape to our V2 remote, but this has a slightly larger screen and a slightly larger thumb
Ooh, that
wheel
looks
here.
nice
And all
and
of this
comfy.
is CNC aluminum except for this back plate. This is a remote that is going to stand some drops. They also all come with a screen protector, and my experience has been if you use a screen protector, you won't break the screen unless it's like a really catastrophic crash.
Is it glass or plastic?
The
The screen protector.
protector is a hardened glass.
Okay, cool. Feels much better than plastic.
Yeah, it's definitely a hardened glass. I have mine on my remote that has a crack in it, but the screen is safe under. I checked.
Good.
So yeah, as I said, this remote can do a lot of things to control this board. It controls all the lights and lasers that'll be on the Major. This Major, for instance, has an LED light strip on it, so if I triple tap the light here, you can now see that light strip turn on.
It's a little bit hard to see in the daylight, but you can see it on. It's kind of similar on the Flex Pro where it's really hard to see in the day, but trust me, it looks cool at nighttime.
So if you go into the menu here, if I go down to our lighting features, oops, sorry, that's the speed modes, lighting. I can go into RGB settings here, and for each speed mode, you can put on a different type of lighting feature. And
Ooh,
so as you
fancy.
cycle through them, you'll get different lights. This also has a boot light, so when this one turned on, it filled with yellow, then it came back red, and you can adjust what colors it fills in with.
Oh, that's cool.
And so if I go into the sport mode that it's in right now, you can kind of see that it's set to blue, and that's the color on the board. If I come up here to colors, I can come through and just rotate the entire spectrum. And so now let's set it to this orange color, and you can see the color on the board has changed.
Yep.
And go in here again, maybe do like a red or it's like a whitish color. You get the whole spectrum, so you get to try. We also have a flashing feature on it, so now you kind of can see a little bit better that the light is in operation.
Yeah, you can see it turning on and off.
And we've also got a series of patterns on that you can use. So for instance, this is a type of RGB, like rainbow, and it's moving. And as you accelerate more, it's going to move faster through the LED range. Now we've got some other colors. This is a green, yellow, white. This is a green and purple. This is what I call the Captain America special of red, white, and blue.
Nice.
And there are actually 8 different types of these lighting settings in here. And so as I said, if I back out of it, now I'm in sport mode, but if I go into turbo, it just went to yellow. If I go into eco, now it's back in the RGB rainbow.
That's really cool. I think there's so many features that people will probably have to take like an hour to set up all the things that they want.
If they want it exactly like they want it, absolutely. It does come with already some presettings.
Okay, so each mode has a different lighting setting out of the box, I take it?
Yeah, it sure does.
Okay, cool. Really neat. Are there any other features on this remote that are new, or are you just keeping the same kind of configurations
Some
as
of
the
it's
old
the
one?
same. This remote now has different themes.
Okay.
So if you tap into the remote, let's see. Gotta remind myself how to do this. Oh, that's our
good.
locking feature.
That
as
is
well.
something I love on remotes, is having a lock, especially on like the puck. It's a double press to lock, so you got that feature here as well.
Okay. Yeah, here's a brightness adjustment for the remote, so you can actually brighten it or darken it at night, for instance. There's our themes. Okay, yeah, so you can select a couple of custom themes that are available here that we've made. Okay, now I reminded myself how to do it.
There you go.
There's a minimalist theme. That's going to save battery on the remote if you
Okay.
choose this theme. That's kind of a nice feature. And there's a 900 milliamp hour remote, so you get a pretty good life out of it. In fact, if you go into the menu, and this we've always had, the remote will tell you its percentage, but it'll also give you an estimate of minutes you have left
Oh, that's good.
of using the remote. And these are some of these things we've always had, like board voltage, battery temperature, and individual cell health.
Yeah,
is in this remote.
That is a unique thing that I want to say only Lorentz has on their remotes. Maybe Backfire does, but I don't think so. I haven't seen one recently. Very cool.
And then we had things like motor and ESC temperature in there.
Yep.
And then you can adjust speed, acceleration, and braking for each mode as well.
Sweet. Well, hopefully I'll get some time to test out the remote and see how it feels, but the shape is the same, right? Same good shape.
Yeah, shape is the same.
But the thumb wheel looks even better than it was before. And yeah, I am a fan of this remote. Definitely a step above some of the other companies with their screen technology here and their configurability. So let's talk for a couple minutes about the new Major.
Yeah, sure.
If you guys didn't know, I had started making a video on the Major last year, ran into some problems, and then time just got away from me and I didn't end up getting to finish it off. So hopefully, maybe we're looking at Chris, maybe we can review it this year.
Yeah, I actually want to come and visit you guys this year.
That would be sweet. So, Major V3. There's a couple things that you can notice right off the bat here. If you ever saw a Major V2 or a V1, the deck is a bit different here, a lot flatter. There's no more, well, there's a little bit of concave, W concave, but not very much. That was a major feature of that older deck that I personally was not a huge fan of. I'm just not a W concave person, but I can totally understand why someone would be. But we got some new features on here. Chris, you want to go through and point out what we got?
Yeah, sure thing. So with the Major, every year we're kind of making it a little bit better. And so we're keeping parts that we thought were excellent in the V2, and we're updating things that we know we could do better on the V3. So this board does have the same trucks, motors, and gear drives as the V2, but the big change is going to be in the deck, the enclosure, its battery, and ESC. So for the V3, we now have the ESC on top of the board, and we did that for good reason. This enclosure is now 100% filled with battery. This board comes with a 16S 8P of Samsung 50S, making it a 2300 watt-hour board.
So what range are you guys claiming on that?
I would expect anywhere from 50 to 70 miles on one charge.
That's a lot of riding.
It's a significant amount of riding. That's with the track and road wheels that it comes with, which are quite sticky. If you were to put normal mountain board wheels, similar to like our standard wheels that we sell separately, you're going to even up the range more by about 20%.
So the tires and wheels, these are, you said they're the same ones as before, the same options?
Yep, we've had these since our inception, since the Major V1. This is kind of one of our signature items, these large rims with low profile tire that Hoda makes for us.
And these, does this board also still take the tank wheels, or can it?
This one, yep, still compatible. Those
Nice.
are 10 by 3 inches, have wider axles to make those work.
Same great styling on the trucks, unique colors, and golden black is really a nice pop.
And since about September of last year, all Majors come from Lorentz with Riptide Bushings. That's been a huge upgrade for our boards. We've really enjoyed working with Riptide, and the feel is just second to none.
So it looks like, obviously, you got channel trucks here, and if anyone remembers, there used to be Riptide kits that you could put on LaCroix channel trucks, and these have a similar shape, those pointy sort of channel truck bushings. I'm sure they're much better than the previous bushings in there, and honestly, I didn't think the previous bushings were that bad, but I mean, Riptide is always the move, so glad to see that.
These are night and day.
Yeah, I'm sure you spent a lot more time on it than me, so it's definitely a welcome upgrade. You want to flip the board up so you can see the new enclosure?
Sure thing. And so one of the cool things that we did with the V3, this enclosure and deck, is in going from 14S6P to 16S8P, we're increasing the battery size by about 33%. We managed to do that without increasing the weight of the board. And we did that using new deck and enclosure materials in order to save weight. So the Major remains at about 58 pounds, but that's, to us, it's a considerable upgrade since the 1500 watt-hour version of this board weighed the same.
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot more battery in there. What was the previous watt hours on the old Major?
1500 watt-hours.
And now you're at 23?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a pretty big upgrade for not much of a difference in weight. I do have to say, though, once you get up to that weight, it kind of feels like it's all just really heavy. So nice that it's the same, but I feel like, me personally, I don't know if I would have noticed the extra weight. But in terms of deck materials, what are you guys rocking for the plies and layup?
So this is maple and fiberglass. It's about eight layers of maple and 3 of fiberglass.
Okay.
Compared to the last major, this is a much flexier deck. This is
Oh,
a very
wow.
comfortable deck.
Yeah, that is.
Compared to the stiff major V2 that had that W concave. You know, this is a truly long-range board, and I think people are going to find this to be a really comfortable board to ride for up to 70 miles.
Very cool. Yeah, it sort of looks like similar flex to some of the quad boards, which are definitely very comfortable to ride. We'll have to take a look at it later. Hopefully I can get a demo ride in while I'm here. I am racing this year as per usual, so time is of the essence, but I'll hopefully get some time on here. Really like the new styling. I see you did do away with the Iron Man logo.
It is currently not there. This LED strip does a lot of the things it used to do. Yeah. For instance, it does fill with brake when you start braking, and it'll flash when you're at full brakes.
Cool.
But we'll see what happens with that.
Does it show the battery charge as it's charging too? Like the old one used to be a dial.
This one doesn't, but this is an early production sample, and I think it's very possible that the final for sale board does.
Right, I guess you could add more features. Mm-hmm. Yeah, keep in mind this is, like you said, this is a pre-production, so it might look slightly different when it comes out, but most of the features, or if not all of them, will still be there. So really great stuff, and in my eyes, this is a pretty worthy upgrade from the V2. Honestly, it's like, could even have been its own board in its own class, but making an upgrade onto the major is definitely a cool decision. So I think that covers all of the new features, right, on the major?
Yeah, I would say that covers the new features. It's worth noting for the first time we're going to have 2 versions of the major.
Okay.
So this is the Pro version with that 16S 8P.
And the
we'll
gear
also
drive?
have a standard version that's going to be 16S 4P.
Okay.
It's going to use 63 series motors. It's going to be a lighter weight version of the major. It'll have less range. It's also going to come at a more affordable price.
Okay, so what everyone wants to know, what are the price points for the new major versions?
Sure thing. So for the Pro version here, we're looking at a retail price of $35.99. We have always included tax and shipping. That is the out-the-door price for the major. It's probably frequently going to be on sale for closer to $34.99.
Okay.
On the standard major, we're going to be at $23.99. Same thing, tax and shipping included, and you'll probably see sales for $22.99 sometimes.
That's I'm trying to remember the price of the V2. I feel like it's pretty close.
V2 was $31.99, and that was like the out-the-door price, on sale usually around that price.
Right. Now, so we're getting a lot more battery, some new features for not too much more money. Of course, in comparison, you could have a very cheap board for the difference in price, but this is premium of the premium, cream of the crop. You're not going 70 miles on pretty much any other board as comfortably as this one. So,
not to mention this board now, the V2 shipped with a 15 amp charger that could charge it from 0 to 100 in 2 hours. This is going to ship with a 17 amp charger, and it'll be 0 to 100 in 2 hours, 20 minutes.
That is beefy, and that's a really quick charge time, all things considered, for 2,300 watt hours. Very, very cool. I want to take one more look at the, what's the new shortboard called?
Maverick.
The Maverick. Yeah, we'll take one more look at the Maverick. I want to look at the quick release mechanism up close and go over the price points for that, and then we'll wrap up.
Cool.
All right, we're back with the Maverick here, and this Beaster shortboard. Let's just go with the price now, and then we'll look at the quick release again. What are we looking at for the standard and Pro versions?
Sure thing. So for the Pro version, like seen here, that's got gear drives, large motors, 105 wheels, and comes with the Molicel P45 battery. That's going to be priced at $15.99, and we'll look to have some promotions for that to drop it a little bit.
Very cool.
The standard version is going to have belt drive. It's going to have 55 series motors, and it's going to have 96 millimeter urethane wheels. That's going to ship with a Samsung 50S battery, and that's going to retail for $11.99. Similarly, we'll try to get some promotions in on that as well.
Very cool. So this is a shortboard, so being sort of portable oriented, what are we looking at in terms of weight for the standard and the Pro? Because weight could be a factor in picking the Pro versus the regular.
Yeah, absolutely. So this Pro one, it is a no compromises board. It's using big motors, steel gear drives, headlights, all of it, and it's coming in right around 30 pounds.
Okay.
I've put it in a backpack, but you better have it in your Wheaties, I think, to have it as a backpack board.
Yeah.
So you might consider something like the Standard, which drops those steel gear drives. Maybe you decide you don't need the headlights. You've got lighter weight motors. You've got lighter weight wheels. Now we're getting it under 25 pounds. I think we're going to see it sort of in that like 22 to 24 pound range. We've got to confirm the final numbers.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about like a legitimately portable board that still has a lot of features like the LED strip, the hot swappable battery. You're not sacrificing a lot. These are 100% forged trucks, really strong, 55 degrees in the front, 44 in the back. So, you know, you're still getting a heck of a lot of board, but you're starting to save on the weight a little bit.
And we talk about the reliability of gear drives a lot, but the reality is belt drives are not that hard to keep up, and you can always just keep a spare 2-ounce belt or 1-ounce belt in your backpack and be back up and running pretty quickly. So definitely don't toss the heavy, expensive price out the window when you have a cheaper belt drive version that still gives you almost all the power and almost all the features. Will you offer a headlight kit for the cheaper one by chance?
Yeah, it's compatible. It's always built into this front base plate. This is the power connector. Every board's going to come with that connector. It's really just a matter of, on that Standard one, to get that really affordable price, we will probably not include the headlights.
Okay, that's cool. Now we'll just take a look at the gear drives over here real quick. Like you said, they're 3-stage, so you got a pretty slim enclosure on there, letting you use these wheels. Can you go all the way down to 85 Kagwamas on here? Or is there a lower limit for what size you'd put on there? It looks like it might be like 100 or maybe 90 is the lowest.
Yeah, I would think 90s. The Standard will come with 96 millimeters. I'm looking at this gear drive right now, and I think you couldn't do less than 90.
Yeah, probably not. I guess you could always get the belt drive version if you want to do small wheels, and I'm sure you guys will offer pulley kits and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's really the move, I think, if you want to go super small on your wheels.
If you want to go light, I mean, the chassis of this board and the quick swap probably do add a little bit more weight over a traditional wooden deck. But if you want the quick swap batteries, which again, pretty much no one has for a shortboard like this, it's a little bit of a weight price that you might have to pay. But I'm going to go ahead and take one last look at the quick release mechanism because I'm a mechanical engineer and I care about those things. So hopefully you guys will find that interesting. And let's check it out. So on the bottom here, you got that lever. And I want to...
We can do it like sequence it if you want. You
know,
like get the lever shot, get the pop shot.
Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to do it in the shade. I think it'll look a lot better. So we'll be right back. All right, here we are in the shade with the quick release mechanism. And
sorry, you may want to.
We've got a couple steps here. So first step is you're going to release the little lever on the bottom. So you just do a quick turn of the lever. And then on top, it pops loose. You just pull up and push forwards a little bit and it pops right out. And it's pretty cool. In the front here, you've got a little piece of bent sheet metal that interfaces with a clip on the front of the battery, or on the front of the lid, which is going to be right here. So it latches into that, and then on the aft side, you have a slot. Oop, gotta brighten it up. We've got a slot back here that the lid fits into, and then you've got a gasket. It goes all the way around the outside for water resistance, and then you've got your connector here, which is looks like 2 discharge pins, and then probably some communication pins for the ESC, so you can get your smart battery. Wait, does this have the smart BMS as well?
Yes, it does.
That's very impressive. So you got your communication pins for that as well. No idea what protocol you're using, but probably something that you can't access. But very cool battery tub here. And then the battery itself, it just slots into that connector. So when we stick it in, sits down in the front, and it's just a quick pop and press. You do want to make sure it's pressed in there, just to make sure you get full contact, but Then the lid comes down, you stick the slot into the rear, and then it's a quick, firm press in the front, and you're ready to go. And just like that, you're on to riding some more. Very cool system to have, and having it integrated in the deck like this, it kind of adds another layer of reliability, because on things like the Rebel kit, there's always a chance that you have some vibration problems and the battery could vibrate out of place. But here you have it integrated inside, it's closed in there. I want to say the battery enclosures themselves honestly look pretty water resistant on their own, and then you have the additional gasket there to sort of seal it up. So really cool, innovative stuff coming out on this new Maverick, and I'm super excited about it. So big thank you to Chris here for letting me interrogate him for half an hour, and hopefully you guys enjoyed another technical detailed interview here at Esk8con. Thanks so much, Chris.
Thanks, Ryan.
Have a good one.